thing that we have to realize is that people change, people evolve, right? Yeah, and it's unfair to judge someone's based on like their past, right? Trying to reestablish culture, right? Because last summer when we did the drumming at the park there at Pleasant Hill, right? Like we did it in the evenings, and families would be there with their kids, and other people, in the neighborhood would be listening, and being able to bring at least some of these practices back, right? Such as smudging or drumming, right? It helps. It helps a lot of the people out here who may not have access to even transportation. I guess the best thing would be able to offer knowledge to a lot of the people here in the city, right? For example, like roles in our communities, right? Like the women's roles were, the men's roles were, like the old peoples, the two-spirited peoples. Like each and every one of us had our roles. For so long, we had our own rites of passage with each stage, right? The biggest thing is ultimately giving the land back and being able to hunt, because when we hunt, we provide for our kinship, right? Yeah, it's but definitely with that relationship with the land is key.
Today, we are capable of living off the land. The land can provide for us. It is money that is distracting us. I myself have learned to live without money. I have learned to live off the land. This feather here can pray for us. It has cried many times in the past for us. This feather can also bring us to healing. I have learned how to keep the teachings in my mind. I do not need to write them down. It is important to develop our human faculties and learn how to use these gifts properly. In order to stand tall, we must heal ourselves and learn to protect ourselves from harm.
I remember being about 9 to 10 years old. I was in North Battleford. There was me and my brother and my dad. And my dad picked us up for our Taekwondo practice, right? And we're walking down the street, and this old man comes up to us. He's an old brown guy, right? Real wrinkly skin, big ears, big nose, right? White hair and everything. And he greets my dad. My dad introduces us, and I guess to me, he would be my chapan, right? So in Cree, that means my great-grandparents, right? And he shook our hand. He had a big smile and everything. And then him and my dad were talking for a bit, and me and my brother were playing. And after that, right, that old man asked my dad for some money. And without hesitation, my dad brings out his wallet, and he brings out the first bill he sees and just gives it to him. I can't remember if it was like a $10 or $20 bill, right? But after that, he shook our hands and we went our separate ways, right? And then on the car ride back home, I was sitting in the front seat. My dad was telling me about him. And the thing was that old man, he would have, like, even though a lot of people viewed that old man as like the town drunk, right? Like he would always be drinking and everything. To my dad, he was more than that. My dad saw more than the alcoholism. My dad seen him as a mentor, actually. Because I guess when my dad was a teenager, then there's that age when young men have to be in Oskapios. My dad would actually go to that old man and ask for guidance. He was a mentor. Because when this old man, on the days when he wasn't drinking, when he was sober, he would go to these ceremonies. And even though that old man, he didn't hold any titles or did any like important roles of these ceremonies, he still sat with the old men, right? But he still had a lot of knowledge, and my dad would go to him and ask for this knowledge. So to my dad, he was his mentor growing up, and a lot of those teachings, they've been passed down to me, right? Like those teachings still live on. I think that we right now should be more focused and spend our time and energy on our communities. There's going to become a time where maybe the only thing that we can rely on is our teachings. I think there's going to become a time when we can only rely on our prayers, on our ceremonies,